For those who seen my Papa Duck Duvalier video, you guys requested that we do a baby duck video along with his wife, which is called the Dragon Lady, Michelle Bennett Duvalier. Just like my Papa Duck video, be as unbiased as possible, showing both sides of the coin from Michelle Bennett's own mouth, her own words, her recount of what really happened in Haiti, and then also from the account of the people of Haiti. What really happened? What really happened? It was pretty bad, especially for the Totomacuts, the burning, putting tires and gasoline on their head and burning them alive. It was a very, very dramatic and sad era for Haiti.
This was Haiti last February, just after the dictator Baby Doc Duvalier fled the country.
She tried to eat all the little children.
For sacrifice. That's what she meant.
By sacrifice.
Spending money, millions and millions of dollars.
Throughout the country, chants and lurid songs about Michelle's sex life rang out on the streets. Graffiti and crude drawings appeared on walls. The body of this Tonton Macoute, a hated Duvalier security policeman, was roasted and paraded through the streets of the capital.
I do know a lot of the stories from people, my elders at the time, who had first-hand account of what it was really like for them. And honestly, guys, it really is a conflicted story. It can go 50-50 on both sides of the spectrum. So it's just so complicated, and we have to break this down with a lot of respect and understanding all sides and what was really going on. So we're going to get into this, and I would say 3 parts. We're going to not only talk about Jean-Claude Duvalier's regime, being the youngest president ever, but his mom, what role she had in his legacy, because we didn't talk about Mama Duck in Papa Duck's video too much, but we're also then going to talk about Michelle Bennett, and it all ties in and what really happened. And if you're from Haiti, if you're Haitian, please comment below any other insight, firsthand accounts you have in the comments. Let's get into the discussion. But first, hey friend, welcome to my channel, Korean Allude, where we deep dive and break down the most iconic stars to history. If you're not yet subscribed, please be sure to do so. And if you're already subscribed, please turn on your notification bell so you never miss an upload. Now, without further ado, let's jump into this video. So Jean-Claude Duvalier, dubbed Baby Duck, stepped into a world of intrigue and power straight from birth on July 3rd, 1951 in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. His background was a cocktail of contrasts. His mother was a mulatto Haitian woman with a tough start in life, while his father, Francois Papa Duck Duvalier, was a staunch black nationalist who climbed the political ladder to become Haiti's iron fist dictator. Raised away from the public eye, Jean-Claude's childhood was anything but ordinary, attending elite schools and later the University of Haiti, where he dabbled in law. When Papa Duck passed away, Jean-Claude, at just 19, inherited the heavy title of President for Life. But don't be fooled, the real shots were called by a council set up by his dad, featuring the creme de la creme of Papa Duck's inner circle, including Simone, aka Mama Duck. Under her watch, Haiti experienced a semblance of stability, or so it seemed. But who is this Mama Duck? Let's talk about her a little bit so you can better understand the rise and fall of the Duvalier regime. Mama Duck was born around 1913 near Léogâne, Haiti. Simone's life read like a soap opera. From being abandoned by her mother to growing up in an orphanage in Pétionville, she learned early on how to survive and thrive. Trained as a nurse's aide, her path crossed with the young doctor Francois Duvalier. Their 1939 marriage marked the start of a formidable partnership, with Francois eventually seizing Haiti's presidency in 1957. Simone wasn't just a bystander, she became a key player, influencing access to Francois and nurturing her own set of allies within the palace walls. She was really involved politically. And what's interesting to me, Papa Duck, aka Francois Duvalier, was very anti-mulatto and mixing of the races, etc., right? He kicked all the mulattoes out. We talked about that in his video, which I'll pin in the comment section for you guys if you guys haven't seen yet. But yet he married a mulatto woman, and his son ended up with a mulatto woman. It showed a lot that in Haiti, although the darker skinned men were fighting against the mulattoes, seizing all the power from the darker skinned peasants and people of Haiti, because 90% of Haitian population were darker skinned Haitians. And it was just a really small minority that were mulatto, and yet they had so much power in Haiti, which is what Papa Duck was fighting against. How did he end up marrying a mulatto? And how did Baby Duck, knowing who your father was, went on to marry a mulatto who, supposedly brought down the whole infrastructure of Haiti? This is very interesting to me and just shows that, respectfully stating that sometimes it's easier to preach something when it doesn't come to what's between your legs and your pants. It just shows that throughout history, they will preach something, but they're blinded by the beauty, the enticement of exoticness, being with someone who's exotic, quote unquote, and they don't practice what they preach when it comes with who is in their bed. It's very unfortunate. But Simone's flair for playing the benevolent leader led to the creation of Cité Simone, a housing project intended as charity but now known as Cité Soleil, one of the most dire slums in the Western Hemisphere. And if you know anything about Cité Soleil, Haiti, it is just one of the most difficult places to grow up. But despite their outward charm, both Mama Duck and Papa Duck shared a penchant for voodoo. Adding an extra layer of fear and respect to her role, she was known as a voodoo expert in practice also. Following Papa Duck's death and Jean-Claude's ascent to power, Simone's influence soared, maintaining her status as First Lady and reveling in the authority it granted her. However, the glory days came to a screeching halt when Jean-Claude married in 1980, relegating his mother to a secondary role as the guardian of the Duvaliers' revolution. This demotion not only bruised Simone's ego, but also hinted at a critical error on Jean-Claude's part, one that might have contributed significantly to the eventual collapse of their dynasty. For you to understand why Mama Duck was so against Jean-Claude's marriage, we must uncover who his wife Michelle Bennett was and why was there so much disdain. But for you to understand who Michelle Bennett was and why they hated her so much, you must understand how badly things got after their marriage. And to understand that, you must know about the good old days of Haiti's economy.
Still, Haiti likes to call itself the Pearl of the Antilles. It had surely been that for the French, said to be the richest, the most prosperous colony in all the world. Coffee and sugar, mahogany and molasses were the treasures. Today, Haiti is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. Most of her 5 million people live at bare subsistence level.
So back in April 1971, Jean-Claude Duvalier, just 19 years old, found himself stepping into the shoes of Haiti's president after his dad, François Papa Duck Duvalier, passed away. Overnight, he turned into the youngest president in the world. And unlike his father, who was all about promoting Black pride through negritude and noirism, Jean-Claude had different plans. He talked big about sparking an economic revolution in Haiti, aiming to ease the political chokehold that had defined his father's regime and to open up the economy. He started making moves, some just for show, and others quite meaningful, that helped break Haiti's international isolation. These changes got the U.S. to start sending aid again and even lured in some foreign businesses wanting a piece of the action.
If the king is dead, long live the new king, Baby Duck, Jean-Claude Duvalier, 20 years old, now at the end of his first year in power, a year in which, it seems, the winds of change began to blow in Haiti. Papa Doc proclaimed that his revolution was political, that he gave Haiti back to the Haitian. Then he decreed, shortly before he died, that his 19-year-old son and heir would be president for life. And Baby Doc, Jean-Claude Duvalier, promptly proclaimed an economic revolution. The cruise ships have begun to call again. The street vendors and the taxi cabs are making money. Holiday Inn has purchased a site to build on down by the waterfront. They come in search of something comfortably exotic, and they feel a good deal safer now that Papa Doc is gone, because cash has finally begun to find its way into the pockets of some Haitian workers. More and more small industries are moving in, encouraged by the fact that the hydroelectric plant is finally completed. The power is on, and the telephone is no longer just an artifact of the interior decor, but has begun to work again.
I have at present the good fortune of being advised and inspired by my mother, the First Lady of the Republic.
And there is a new medical trade of sorts sprung up in Haiti, plasma and cadavers. The undernourished Haitian can now furnish his plasma for $1.50 a pint to a stateside company in Port-au-Prince. It is frozen and available for export overseas. And medical schools in various countries are a ready market for Haitian cadavers. The only word written on the death certificate is inconnu, unknown. And the corpse is shipped north for the medical students to work with.
Originally, Jean-Claude hadn't even wanted the top job. He didn't even want to be president. He would have been happy to see his older sister, Marie Denise Duvalier, take over. But fate, or rather family tradition, had other ideas. Early on, he was more than okay letting his mom and a team led by Lucne Cambron, his dad's right-hand man, handle the nitty-gritty of running the country. But meanwhile, he embraced the high life, buzzing about from one social event to another, the very picture of a playboy president. He really just wanted to have fun, relax. He was in a band, ride his motorcycles. He just wanted to live life. He didn't want the heavy burden at 19. I mean, come on, who would want to be president at 19? You don't even know who you are at 19, okay? Let alone to run a country. And despite having the power to do whatever he wanted, thanks to the Constitution, Jean-Claude did dip his toes into reform. He freed some folks who'd been locked up for their political beliefs and loosened up on the media a bit. But don't be fooled, these were small tweaks. The core of his dad's oppressive regime stayed put. Criticism wasn't exactly welcomed, and the government still just a bunch of yes men. Jean-Claude kind of checked out on the leadership front, which played right into the hands of the dinosaurs, those diehard Duvalier supporters who kept the old ways alive and kicking. And for a while, foreign powers seemed to give him a pass, especially when it came to human rights, and they kept the financial aid flowing. The Nixon administration even restarted the U.S. aid program for Haiti in 1971. Things were looking up, tourism was thriving, the streets were clean, and people were a little more relaxed. Then along came Michelle Bennett. When Jean-Claude fell for her, he had no idea she'd soon earn the nickname the Dragon Lady and shake things up as Haiti's future First Lady. So back in 78, Michelle Bennett was turning heads as a gorgeous divorcee who had mingled with rising stars, a globetrotter with an education from abroad. She was also juggling life as a mom of 2 little ones from her first marriage, which had fizzled out after 5 years. She was deeply involved in the family's coffee export business and wasn't on the hunt for a husband. She said, and I quote, "I didn't need a husband to support myself. I was doing fine on my own. House, pool, nice car. The family business was more than capable to take care for my financial needs. But there was this one bachelor, not just any regular guy, but Haiti's president, Jean-Claude Duvalier, who caught her attention. At 27, having already been in power for 8 years, he represented one of Haiti's most eligible yet controversial figures. In those times, you were either with the Duvaliers or against them. And tying the knot with someone from a staunch Duvalieres family was seen as hitting the jackpot. Every Duvalieres family in Haiti had a daughter for the president, Michelle pointed out. I was not anyone's choice. I was wrong in every way. And despite resistance from the administration, Jean-Claude was smitten. One thing about Haitians, at first they were a little critical because, you were married already, you had 2 kids, and this is our golden child, the president. You're just coming out of nowhere. Plus, you're a mulatto. This is everything your dad stood against. And she came from a very wealthy mulatto family, which is insanity. But nonetheless, Michelle, with her chic flair, worldliness, and mulatto heritage, was everything Jean-Claude wasn't. His father had spent his regime promoting Black power, sidelining the mulatto elite to whom Michelle belonged. Her family boasted vast lands, coffee exports, and roots that tracked back to the indigenous Taino people, and even King Henri Christophe, living a life far removed from the average Haitian's reality. Undeterred by these complexities, Jean-Claude invited her over for cocktails at his villa, where they hit it off over champagne served by a butler, no less. Their bond grew both in public and behind closed doors. Jean-Claude was a breath of fresh air, Michelle remembered. His father had been feared, but he was the son of Haiti. He grew up under Haiti's watchful eye. Haitians from every walk of life were naturally protective of him, end quote. During their time together, Jean-Claude started changing physically, dropping weight and making surprise visits across Haiti. And despite the whirlwind romance, Michelle hadn't considered marriage a real possibility until Jean-Claude made it clear he was serious. Eventually, she agreed, and they set a date to marry, marking the beginning of a new chapter that would intertwine their fates with Haiti's future. In May 1980, Jean-Claude Duvalier and Michelle Bennett's wedding was the talk of the town. Actually, forget the town. It was a buzz of the decade, making headlines a whole year before Lady Diana and Prince Charles said their I do's. This wasn't just any wedding. It was a lavish affair that cost them a cool $3 million, broadcasted across Haiti on the state TV network, ensuring that no one from the smallest village to the biggest city would miss out. And Haitians living abroad tuned in on their local channels to catch a glimpse of the spectacle. Michelle, looking every bit the fashion icon, dazzled in a Givenchy couture gown, personally designed by Givenchy himself in Paris.
June 5th, 1980, in a ceremony so lavish that the Guinness Book of Records lists it as one of the 3 most expensive weddings, Haiti's 28-year-old president for life, Jean-Claude Duvalier, marries Michelle Bennett. If it looked to the world like a grotesque demonstration of extravagance in the poorest country in the hemisphere, to most Haitians watching on television, it was enchanting. A storybook wedding of a king and a queen.
I was worried about the dress accentuating my curves. I was thin, but particularly conscious of the back of the dress, Michelle confessed. But Givenchy himself assured her the dress was nothing short of flattering and went the extra mile by designing a bespoke headpiece instead of a traditional veil. Creating an iconic look that highlighted her striking silhouette, the streets of Haiti burst into celebration, with people dancing joyously for their president's marriage. People at first were very happy. Hey, look at this. We are like the Western. We have a queen. They wanted a queen essentially for their king, you know, and she exuded every bit of that. And it was lavish. They were happy with the wedding, the presentation. They really had no reason to hate her at that time. Reflecting on the event, Michelle recalled how the astronomical wedding cost became public knowledge. I read in the newspaper how much the wedding cost, she mentioned, yet her focus was solely on the dress and a date, leaving the rest, the lavish decor and pricey decisions, in the hands of Jean-Claude and his sisters, who she described as having impeccable taste. At one point, someone asked me which kind of flowers I liked. White orchids, I said, and they incorporated those into the decor, end quote. Despite rumors of imported caviar and exotic dishes, Michelle clarified, and I quote, "The food was all locally made. It was a very Haitian wedding for all of Haiti," end quote. However, stepping into the role of First Lady wasn't without its hurdles, especially with her mother-in-law, the widow of the previous president, viewing herself as the eternal First Lady. This internal palace drama didn't stop Michelle from making waves. Drawing from her experiences abroad and her keen fashion sense, she hatched a PR strategy to elevate Haiti's global image. Even if her mother-in-law blocked direct access to ambassadors, Michelle found a way to shine, making headlines in Haiti's daily Le Nouvelliste. Whether standing by the president or solo, Michelle embodied the glamorous First Lady image, championing popular causes and ensuring the press captured every commendable moment. One notable instance in 1981 saw Michelle hosting Mother Teresa at the presidential palace. A revered figure praised the Duvaliers, remarking to the press how she'd never seen poor people so familiar with their head of state. What's crazy about that is while she was projecting this image, there was a lot of Haitians in the political parties, etc., that were opposing, the Duvaliers, that were seeing it as all an act, a gimmick, to pretend to show the world that she is this Mother Teresa-esque type of figure. But behind the scenes, it was all greed and narcissism, in a sense. It was all a show. They didn't really care too much for what she was doing, although a lot of people, let's be fair, was benefiting from what she was doing.
Michelle immediately enlisted Haiti's TV network to promote herself as a champion of the poor. It was a powerful image that won over even such a symbol of saintliness as Mother Teresa. Every day, the elegant First Lady was featured in scenes like this, launching vaccination campaigns, touring hospitals, giving her heart to the people.
I've seen many people coming, and kings and people, presidents and prime ministers, but I have never seen the poor people being so familiar with their heads of state as they were with her.
Joe Namfi, the brother of the new leader of Haiti, businessman and perennial insider, he explained that an altogether different First Lady was surfacing inside the palace.
She was capable of showing that she could be the very best, and in reality, she displayed that she was the very worst. She took over literally this country, and within 1 year, she had kicked out of the palace Jean-Claude's mother. All of Jean-Claude's mother's relatives, 98 of them, were exiled.
Baby Doc, with his private army of thugs, the Tonton Macoute, ruled Haiti with unchecked brutality. But by all accounts, he was always dominated by his sister and mother. And once Michelle purged them from the palace, she emerged as the unrivaled force behind the throne. Were people afraid of her?
She frightened everybody. And people avoided her because if she does not get what she wants, she would cry, she would try to break everything, she was hysterical, she would go hysterical.
Almost overnight, her father, Ernest Bennett, who was reportedly on the verge of bankruptcy, became a wealthy man. With his daughter in the palace, he paid no export taxes and soon cornered much of the coffee trade. By the time of his marriage to Michelle, Baby Doc is said to have amassed a fortune of hundreds of millions of dollars.
She was even more greedy than he was himself because she had to catch up, you see.
When Marc Bazin became Haiti's finance minister in 1982, He quickly became suspect by questioning the national budget. So $60 million went for his and her personal use.
Absolutely.
Every year?
Oh, yes.
Michelle came into the government through the bedroom, and she brought down the government in 5 years through her greed.
But what about the First Lady's foundation and the millions of dollars she had raised on behalf of the poor?
That was just a cover.
Was she taking a lot of money out of it, you think?
Oh, yes, yes. I believe that was a very important source of income for her.
This scene came to symbolize the blind arrogance of Baby Doc and Michelle's regime, the dictator hurling small change to the poor, while he and his wife extorted hundreds of millions.
Over the years, Michelle Bennett Duvalier threw herself into philanthropy with vigor, fundraising for Mother Teresa and throwing her energy into the foundation Michelle Bennett Duvalier. This wasn't about chasing fame for Michelle. I never set out to become famous or popular myself, end quote. Her mission was clear: support the president's efforts and give back to the community through job creation and essential service. Her foundation was groundbreaking in Haiti, unmatched in both scale and impact. It spearheaded the development of hospitals, clinics, pharmacies, canteens, and schools across the nation. By 1985, she had already seen through the completion of 3 major hospitals and was laying the foundations for a 4th. Her network included hundreds of clinics coupled with pharmacies, notably in Port-au-Prince, Bel Air, and the rural local of Port-au-Paix. The foundation didn't stop there. It breathed life into schools and ran nutrition programs that fed over 1,500 students daily. Michelle wasn't just the face of the foundation. She was deeply involved in every detail, from strategic planning to managing personnel, and the foundation was flush with funds, supported by both private and public contributions. When we left Haiti, the foundation bank account had a balance of $3 million to sustain the works, she noted. I must say, even today, older Haitians will talk about the canteen program that she had started in its glory days and how people were just getting, those kids that couldn't even feed themselves was getting a hot meal every day. And it was unfortunate that when they were exiled, those programs were gone. And now it was like people were going back to not being even able to feed themselves. Yet despite these contributions, the focus in the media was often on the wealth the Duvaliers allegedly amassed and took into exile, painting them as villains. In the wake of their departure, the projects Michelle had nurtured saw their funds drained, their buildings torched, and the children who relied on them left without their daily meals. The accomplishments of the foundation, Michelle Bennett Duvalier, spanned just 5 years, a testament to Michelle's dedication and organizational skills. It was a period of unprecedented development for Haiti, a legacy that no successive government or first lady had matched. Michelle's effort extended beyond the foundation. She was instrumental in establishing Mupana, a museum dedicated to celebrating Haitian heritage and art, and it survived the earthquake. I went to Haiti after the earthquake, and we went into the Mupana, and it was still in all its glory. It's just very beautiful that it still survived. Remarkably, the museum remained standing, even amid social upheaval and a devastating earthquake that leveled many neighboring structures. Through her initiatives, Michelle inadvertently overshadowed her mother-in-law, Simone, Mama Doc, in the public eye. The press started to favor Michelle, leading Simone to eventually step down from her self-appointed role as First Lady for life. Haiti had embraced a new maternal figure, and her name was Michelle Duvalier. She finally got her mother-in-law to step down and bow down, okay? But to a lot of people, this was a big mistake. It was as if she infiltrated the Duvalier family. When she put the mother down, that's when things really started to change a little bit. Back in 1978, Haiti faced a crisis when African swine fever virus hit the island. By 1982, U.S. agricultural bigwigs were adamant that Haiti needed to wipe out its entire pig population to stop the disease. This move wreaked havoc on the local economy, especially hitting hard the peasant farmers who relied on pig breeding as a key part of their livelihood. Around the same time, reports started surfacing that HIV was becoming a serious issue in Haiti, causing tourism, one of the nation's economic lifelines, to plummet in the early 80s. By the mid-1980s, a cloud of despair hung over most Haitians. The economy was in the gutter, and people were struggling with hunger and malnutrition. In 1983, the internal workings of the Duvalier administration began to unravel. Then came a pivotal moment when Pope John Paul II visited Haiti. In a rare move, he openly criticized the government in broken Creole, demanding change and challenging the Duvaliers to address the dire economic situation. His outspoken stance marked a turning point. It was unheard of for someone to speak against the government so blatantly and live to tell the tale. By 1985, the winds of rebellion began to stir in the provinces. Gonaïves kicked things off with street protests and raids on food warehouses, and Jean-Claude Duvalier tried to quell the unrest with measures like slashing food prices by 10%, shutting down inadequate radio stations, reshuffling his cabinet, and unleashing the police and army to crack down on demonstrators. But none of that could put the brakes on the growing revolt against his family's long-standing rule. And the thing that really ticked off the revolution for Haitians was that Michelle Bennett and Baby Doc Duvalier was starting to flaunt their wealth to the people that was starving. They started to do these lavish parties, fundraiser parties, where it was $500 a plate. Pay $500 for a plate, but you leave with a $30,000 worth of necklaces the women were getting as like a souvenir for coming to the fundraiser dinner. $500 for a plate, but you get a $30,000 worth jewelry to leave the party. It didn't make sense. It was just, at this point, we're starving and you guys are just flaunting it in our face. But what really hit the nail on the head for the Haitian people was when she went on a shopping spree in Paris to buy fur coats and art and, expensive jewelries, etc. She went and spent millions in Paris. And Haiti is a tropical country. So you come back with your fur coats in the heat of Haiti. How do you counteract that? By purchasing large freezers for your fur coats and then large air conditioners, putting them in one specific room to cool down so that she can host parties for her mulatto friends and political leaders and their wives to come and wear their fur coats while still having air conditioned rooms that they wouldn't feel the heat. People were aware of this and started to know of this. And to them, that was the final nail in the coffin.
Most every revolution has an event that finally triggers a people to action. The incident in Haiti was a television broadcast, shown in squares like this across the country on TVs, which the First Lady had installed to show her good work. And what the people of Haiti saw in May of 1984 was this lavish benefit ball, which Michelle had organized on behalf of the poor. Haiti had never seen anything like it. Ministers' wives dressed in Parisian gowns, a jeweler flown in from Paris to present a $30,000 necklace as a door prize.
But this party was broadcast live over Television Nationale, the government television.
Champagne that was being offered. I remember that night they didn't give Champagne, they gave Krug.
Very expensive.
The most goddamn expensive champagne in the world.
Wasn't this a benefit to raise money for
It
poor?
was a benefit to raise money. But the clash of that luxury, that display of wealth versus their poverty situation was just too much for anyone to digest.
Reaction here in Gonaïves, where people still respond with fury at the memory of that party, was to launch the first demonstration in the history of the Duvalier regime. But it wasn't until the following year that Michelle provided a second spark, at a time when Haiti was on the verge of bankruptcy, unable even to buy fuel for its trucks and buses, and facing food shortages. Michelle and an entourage of 14 set off on a fateful shopping trip to Paris.
Shell spent $1 million for 1 week and then asked for a second million from the governor of the central bank. And she got it.
On what?
On clothes, on paintings, on fur coats, and also refrigerator for the fur coats.
A refrigerator for the fur coats?
She has special parties for her friends who also have furs. And Haiti is a tropical country. So at that point, they turn on a special room, very cold, like a freezer, really, so they can put on their furs. The shopping spree was the spark.
In the midst of this turmoil, Michelle Duvalier doubled down on public appearances, believing she could charm the nation back into submission. She was always seen perfectly dressed, her signature hairstyle setting trends. But as the pressure mounted, even the Reagan administration in the U.S. started pushing for Duvalier to step down in January 1986. A mix of Duvalier loyalists and business moguls also began to urge the couple to leave. Although the U.S. denied them asylum, it offered help with their departure. After a false start that saw Duvalier's convoy turn back from the airport due to a gunfight, missing the eyes of U.S. intelligence, Duvalier famously declared their revolve as firm as monkey tail. Yet the writing was on the wall. On February 7, 1986, the Duvaliers made a successful break for it, fleeing to France aboard a U.S. Air Force aircraft, marking the end of their era in Haiti.
They had managed to get an estimated $800 million out of the country. leaving behind less than $500,000 in the treasury.
We have to give the money back. We have to free the money back to our people. Over here, all of it. These are our kids. All of it, brother. They're good people.
In Haiti, people's anger was reduced to acts of symbolic vengeance.
After leaving Haiti, Jean-Claude Baby Dog Duvalier and his family settled into a swanky lifestyle in France, enjoying the high life until June 19, 1990, when he and his wife called it quits. Despite seeking political asylum in France, the authorities weren't having it and turned him down flat. The divorce in 1993 hit him where it hurt, wiping out most of his piled-up cash. During his time in France, Duvalier didn't exactly hustle to find a job or write a memoir or anything like that. He said, "All I know about is politics," shrugging off any talk about finding work or writing. However, he did hit the books somewhat, taking some university classes to brush up on those leadership skills. Fast forward to 2004, after Haiti's then president, Jean-Bertrand Aristide, was booted out. And comment below if you guys want an Aristide video, because his was very interesting as well. Duvalier floated the idea of making a grand return to lead Haiti in the 2006 elections under the National Unity Party banner. But that plan fizzled out. Even so, he still had a bunch of diehard fans who went ahead and set up the François Duvalier Foundation in 2006, aiming to put a positive spin on his role by bigging up the establishment of state institutions and better education access for Haiti's Black majority. Duvalier was living a rather low-key life in Paris with his long-term partner, Véronique Roy, until he decided to make a dramatic comeback to Haiti in January 2011, 25 years after he bailed.
He returned because he was broke. When Duvalier was rich, he was protected by the French government, and he spent his money into the French economy. Once he was broke, they returned him to Haiti.
And Véronique Roy was another, clear, bright woman, which is very interesting. And Véronique Roy, as you can see, was a type his father would have been against. I guess you could say the Duvalier men had a type. He barely had time to unpack before Haitian cops showed up at his hotel on January 18th, slapping him with charges of corruption, theft, and misusing government funds during his time as president. Even though they cut him loose, he wasn't off the hook and could have been hauled back to court anytime. By September 2011, it looked like the legal storm might be dying down, and reports were flying around that Duvalier was living it up under some kind of lax house arrest in a posh Port-au-Prince neighborhood. Come January 2012, the word was out that he'd only face the music for the corruption charges. None of the human rights abuse accusations would stick, but dodging court dates like they were going out of style, a judge finally ordered him to show up on February 28, 2013. Duvalier rocked up, pleading not guilty to all charges thrown at him. However, all legal battles came to a standstill when Duvalier passed away from a heart attack on October 4th, 2014, at the age of 63, closing the chapter on a tumultuous piece of history. The years following Baby Dog and Michel Duvalier's reign in Haiti had sparked intense debate among Haitians and historians alike. On one side, critics label Michel a supreme pillager of Haiti's national wealth, detached from the harsh realities faced by the majority of her nation. People magazine went as far as branding her the Dragon Lady, a moniker that alluded to her being the most successful plunderer of Haiti's finances since its birth in 1804. Rumblings suggest that the Duvaliers hoarded a jaw-dropping $800 million, a sum that would be staggering today, and was even more so back in 1986. Yet despite the swirling accusations, formal charges never saw the light of day. Another camp of devoted friends and supporters paints a vastly different picture of Michel's time as First Lady. To them, it was a golden era, with the First Lady personifying sophistication and the presidential palace standing as a symbol of grandeur, reflecting the pride of the world's first free Black republic. According to this perspective, the lavish affairs Michel hosted were on par with any high society gatherings at the White House, like a lavish banquet in the White House, any lavish banquet that they did in other countries. The first ladies are dressed in designers. Most first ladies anywhere in any country are dressed in designers, and they do host lavish parties, even in the United States. So she was looking at it like, why were we getting so much scrutiny? Yes, we live lavishly, but every leader lived lavishly. We were also doing a lot of work for the people also. But the work that we were doing, you gotta also, like in my Papa Doug video, take notice that a lot of the foreign countries in the West were not really wanting to help Haiti out financially in terms of trading, or there was a lot of blocks that was stopping progress also that didn't really have anything to do with the Duvaliers. But for the people, when you're hungry, you're starving, and things just aren't looking good for you in a country, whoever you are looking for someone to throw all the blame and energy and frustration on. And the Duvaliers, because, president for life, you are the person for us to throw the blame on. And then when you have a first lady that was flaunting the wealth, because Papa Doc had the same amount of wealth, but he wasn't flaunting it. His wife, Mama Doc, was pretty out of the way. Papa Doc was alive. She still was even after his death, but she wasn't flaunting her mulatto ways, if that makes sense. She was mulatto, but she was quiet about it. She wasn't too showy with her designer. It was just not the vibes. Another thing I noticed too is Papa Doc didn't want any Catholic archbishops, bishops, but he would have never been okay with the Pope coming to Haiti. If you guys watch his video, he opposed the Catholic Church from having anything to do with Haiti because they were seen as a source of oppression for the people. Isn't it funny how Mother Teresa and the Pope went to Haiti, and right after the Pope left Haiti, that's when trouble started to happen. The Pope denounced Baby Doc and Michelle Duvalier, and that's when turmoil started to happen. And this is something that Papa Doc would have been very opposed to. And it seemed like it had a lot to do with Michelle Bennett, because Michelle Bennett did say in an interview that she did that her mother used to write out checks and support Mother Teresa. And they were really tied with the Catholic Church, right? Mother Teresa was very well pleased with her. And Michelle Bennett herself continued to support financially the causes of Mother Teresa. And I will do a Mother Teresa video for you guys, which you guys will be disturbed. You guys will be disturbed. That's all I'm going to say on that. It was a pretty disturbing story in terms of her. You won't see things in the same light, but it's funny how everything that Papa Doc did not want for Haiti, they did. And Michelle Bennett was unfortunately behind a lot of these things. He would have never been okay with the Pope being in Haiti.
He points to the Pope's visit in March 1983 as the first challenge to Baby Doc and Michelle.
The Pope was going beyond the Duvaliers, standing by him and telling the Haitian people, I don't agree with what they're doing. And from that speech of the Pope, the message went out that the Duvalier regime could no longer continue.
Never in a million years. He spoke so against these things. And Baby Doc said he was not into noirism or negritude movement or anything that his father stand for. He didn't care for that. He was all about the economic growth of Haiti. He had a fresh, youthful perspective of it. And I think that's probably where he went wrong in the first place. That's probably where he went wrong. And of course, not taking the counsel of his mother. In that case, I would say mother probably did know best in that regard. But in the golden age, for many of Michelle Bennett's supporters and Baby Doc supporters, they saw the visible military and police were viewed as contributors to societal order and cleanliness. This group fondly remembers Michelle's era, leaving nostalgic comments on her Facebook pages or Instagram pages, celebrating the healthcare that she provided and yearning for her to return to lift Haiti back to greatness. Michelle herself seemed unfazed by the controversy that shrouded her past. In the 30-plus years since she discreetly fled Haiti, she consistently sidestepped a complete narrative, rebuffing biographers until recently opening up to polo lifestyles. Her hesitance stemmed from a painful history with the international media, which pursued her relentlessly upon her 1986 arrival in France. The tabloids' insatiable appetite for scandal and the paparazzi's unyielding pursuit inflicted considerable strain on Michelle and her family, crafting a cautionary tale that still influences how much she reveals about her life today. And today, she is quick to clap back at misinformation about her, okay? She is quick to respond under her comments. If you come with bad energy, she'll post her posts of Haiti, and then there's still some people that really do not like the Duvaliers, whether they had families that went missing during their regime or a lot of injustice they face, and they'll come with a comment or something under her post, and she'll be quick to clap back at you. She is not shy about speaking her mind, okay? She will clarify to you, and she also used to call radio stations that were giving reports on Haiti, the Duvalier, what, happened during their era, and she would call them to clarify or correct them on something. So she really does not want her legacy to be tainted as much, but what can you do? The people themselves that live through it have their own ideals. And one thing I'll say is that there was a lot of, I do believe, to be fair, there was a lot of embellishments on rumors with Michelle Bennett. The Haitian people, my people, I love my people to death. I always say I'm a Christian first, I'm a Haitian second. I love my people and I'm a friend to my people. But my people are very dramatic at times. They're very dramatic, colorful people. And the rumors that were going around about Michelle Bennett was definitely very colorful.
This was Haiti last February, just after the dictator Baby Doc Duvalier fled the country.
She tried to eat all the little children.
For sacrifice. That's what she
By
meant.
sacrifice. What?
For the first lady, she's a bum.
Michelle Bennett, she's a prostitute. She made voodoo to take jump, and all the time she take marijuana.
Spending money, millions and millions of dollars.
Michelle Bennett. What you mean? Everybody call her is a lesbian.
Throughout the country, chants and lurid songs about Michelle's sex life rang out on the streets. Graffiti and crude drawings appeared on walls.
I only laugh because the people were very angry. They did not care. It was like she was sacrificing babies. She did voodoo to get Baby Doc. And no, she loved women. She slept with women. And she did like stuff that they had no kind of proof for. It was just rumors were circulating around, the propaganda of that, where they were just really annoyed at her wealth and flaunting the wealth. That was it. But these rumors grew legs. People really believe them. And they're like myths now that really happened, where, if we're being fair, I really don't believe any of those things happened. Could she have been into voodoo? Hey, it is what it is. That part, hey, that could have been the truth for her. But in terms of other things, even with the sacrificing babies, I don't think so. Michelle is one thing about her. She really loves her children and cared for children in general. We're not going to take that away if we're being unbiased. She loved children in general. And a lot of what she did for Haiti, even with the canteen program, like I tell you now, the older Haitians will tell you about the canteen days where the kids were getting those free meals. And she was promoting vaccines for a lot of the illnesses that were running rampant in Haiti, and really supported education, medicine, and a lot of good deeds that she was doing, even if it was to broadcast. We can't take that away from her. So I'm not going to be out here saying she was sacrificing kids. But if you see my Papa Dog video, you know just how deeply voodoo was part of the Duvalier regime. So who knows? This is all I have for this video. I know I might have missed some key points. Please comment them below. And who else would you guys like for me to do a breakdown for, especially political figures? I do really want to start doing, because that was my first passion for this channel in the first place, was to do political figures. But people were just more interested in Hollywood. But if you guys are interested in some political figures, I find their story to be far more intriguing than any Hollywood star or icon that you may know of. Please comment them below, and it would be with great pleasure for me to deliver. I love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in. If you like the music you're listening to, the link is in the description. Until next time.